the Devils, and welcome to the 2025 season preview. Oh, we're excited. It's a great time to be a Sun Devil, and we love talking everything ASU football with you here on RWD every week during the season. We will be right here on our YouTube page talking everything Arizona State football. And, of course, we got to preview the 2025 season. I'm the RyKno, Ryan Knowles. Here with me, as always, my co-host, Big John Caldwell. And, you know, Big John, like I said in the opener, it is a great, great time to be a Sun Devil and a Sun Devil fan. They just announced today the opener against NAU on Saturday has sold out. So it's a tremendous time, and we're so happy to be back talking everything Arizona State football with you here on our YouTube page, and we love talking to you about this show and love talking to you about this team. And it's a very exciting team, a lot of expectations, very hype right now, but we feel like we have the right leadership in place to not just be a flash in the pan and have continuous success, and we're looking forward to that this season, and it starts right here, week 1. Oh, Big John, if you can't tell, I'm excited. I am so hyped up right now.
I've been getting so many. My day today has just been nothing but nonstop text with people wanting. How can I get tickets? How can I go to the luncheon? How can I go to the tailgate? Like, where have you been the last
right
since Dillingham got here? Have you been paying attention? But I got to tell you, this league is so great to be in. It's so competitive.
Yeah.
So many good quarterbacks. Everybody's got a good running back, and we can compete in this league. We can, more importantly, we can go to places like Texas and we can recruit. It's an exciting time to be in the Valley. Again, we haven't sold out since '98 for opening game, and yet they did it. And
it also might help that it might not be triple digits on at kickoff.
So, game time.
Fingers crossed on that, but it can't hurt.
but think about it though. Where were we? Our opening game last year. You know what we drew last year? 14,000. Yeah. This is a whole different ball game, folks.
Oh, yeah.
The Valley's at.
Well, look at where we are compared to last year too. So, the success and winning certainly changes things, and we're going to get into all of that. But of course, let's recap what happened. Of course, a great 2024 season ended with the Arizona State Sun Devils claiming the Big 12 title in their first season in the conference when they were picked in the preseason to finish dead last, and they come up and shock everybody and walk out of Dallas with the Big 12 title. They go to the college football playoff, took Texas right to the edge, right to the brink, and came within one play of actually pulling the upset and pulling the victory and getting to play Ohio State back in Dallas. And obviously they couldn't come away with the win, but a lot to build on for this season. And we look at 2024. I think we're going to look back on that and see it as the stepping stone, the turning point, the linchpin of when Arizona State football woke up. We don't want to use the term sleeping giant anymore. We want to be a woke giant, an awake giant.
Right.
And that's what I feel like we're on the path to right now. Obviously, got to have that continuous success year after year after year. But I feel like we're in a good spot to make that happen.
We talked about this. We talked in the pre-show. We talked a lot about why the complacency, what happens after successful years around here, and it has not been good. We don't have a good history, but we talked specifically, and we'll get into this, how this team should be different. The coach is different, the culture is different, the kids are different, and it's. I don't expect a letdown. I really don't. I mean, I went to all but about 4 practices this year, and such a great group of kids. The caliber of players they're bringing in here are so neat.
And you went to Tonazona. Yeah, you've been around this team as much as anybody who's not, getting paid by the program to be there. So
and those schools, I'm not pressed. I'm a booster.
Yeah, right.
But
exactly.
I get great access. That's the really cool thing.
So I really like the direction that this team is headed. And yes, it is a season of expectations. They are starting number 11 in the preseason poll, which is not voted great for ASU teams in the past. The last 7 times they've been ranked in the top 15 in the preseason. Only once out of those 7 did they finish the season ranked. in the top 25.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been a great track record of success, but again, we talked about it. Lots different with this team. This is not those ASU teams. The coaching staff, I feel like, is one of, if not the best from top to bottom that they've had,
really?
That we've ever seen here. And Dilly, he's such a competitor, and this team loves to compete, no matter what it is, no matter who the opponent is. I feel like they're out there giving 110% every single time they step on the field. So that wasn't always the case with teams in the past. So I really feel like this is something that there's not going to be a big letdown. They are going to go out there and perform up to expectations.
Well, I know that everybody who writes or talks to me always has that first thing. How do you replace Scadaboo? How do you replace Scadaboo? We're going to actually talk about how you do it, how the pieces fit together to do this. There's a way to do it, and I think they figured it out. But I think there's a lot of kids who look at what Scadaboo did and say, I can have grit and heart too. You can't coach it, but go ahead and push my buttons and make me great. That's why they want it. That's why you think we got every kid that we needed back last year. 18 kids. They saw something special. They left that Peach Bowl going, we belong. Our fans all believed we'll be back.
Yeah. That's the expectation. That's why we call it a season of expectations around here. We have, high hopes. We feel like this has the team that has the talent, and with, everybody coming back, didn't really lose anybody off the too deep that didn't go pro or graduate.
Right.
So the continuity is there. The camaraderie is there. These kids love each other. They play with each other. They play well with each other. There's no infighting. There's no, no animosity. It feels like they're a very connected team, and a connected team is a dangerous team. I truly believe that. Even if you maybe don't have as much talent as the team across from you, if you're playing for the guy next to you, it's very difficult to beat that kind of team. And that's what I feel like ASU has right now with the type of production that they have coming back. Guys who a bunch of guys on this team went through those 3-win seasons, went through the grind and the setbacks and whatnot, the close losses. They feel like they should have won. They don't want to go back to that. They want to work their tails off every single day in the classroom, in the meeting rooms, on the practice field, in the weight room, to make sure that they don't regress. They don't go back to how that was, and they're able to move forward and have that continuous success.
And one of the reasons why you go back out there every day and embrace the grind, because they programmed in how to have fun. Every single practice,
they're fun working harder than everybody else in the country. That has been the mantra since Dilly got here.
They literally have a fun period every practice. Something funny, O-lineman kicking field goals, slam dunk contest. Just it's every single
bump
day.
Out.
There is something
bump
fun.
Out in pads and helmets. Yeah.
and what it is, they're trying to get the kids to snap in and out of emotions quickly, because that's the game of football can do that to you.
True.
And so
you don't get too high, you don't get too low. Yeah, you're
right. But it's a game of snapping back. Somebody scores a pick six on you. How do you react? How do you switch emotions back?
Short memory,
get back into things. So they're using the fun periods as a means of shifting gears emotionally a lot for everybody. But
the program looks so much different than it did a year ago at this time. I mean, you look at the NIL contributions. The season ticket sales, 96% renewal on the season tickets.
It actually went up.
I know you got yours. I got mine. We're part of that 96%. So
they were able to announce a couple nights ago. It went up to 98. 98.
There you go.
But here's my biggest one is that every single kid on that team now, they're all getting paid. They're all, and I'm not kidding. Every single kid who's a starter is making good money through the revenue share, the $20 million that's being distributed across the major sports.
They deserve it. They've earned it. They're the ones going out there putting their bodies on the line, and hey, they deserve it. So good for them. They deserve it. And and I think especially with the NIL deals, with the local businesses, now it's the national brands that have started calling. Powerade gave some kids some big money. Adidas just gave Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson really good money to be part of their brand's advertising, along with a lot of other great college players this year. So they got the donations have amped up. They're building that new brand new practice facility between Mullet and Packard over there, and that's going to be really big. That's going to be a tailgate spot on Saturday once it's built.
Be world class.
Yeah, everything feels like it's trending upwards in a big way, and on a steep scale too. On a steep,
it's great to see
so fast that it's so great to see.
But you've got the president, the AD, the coach, all in alignment now on how to do this and how the ASU's profile really can be, the sports and football in particular, it can be the front door to your home, to your brand.
Yeah,
and it's working.
That's been an issue too, getting the president in lockstep with everybody, especially and it feels like Dilly and Rossini are, they're on the same wavelength too, in so many ways that it's great. It's really, really great to see. This was what we've been hoping for so long. I feel like it's we still got a long ways to go, but we're again trending in the right direction. I feel like it's we're taking the right steps in the right direction, and it's just a matter of time. Now we just got to go out there on the field and do what the players just need to do, what they've been practicing and what they've been working on for so long. So here's the schedule for 2025. Not the toughest non-conference schedule, of course, but that's going to change here in the next couple of years with some of the other SEC schools we're likely going to face. But you got to go to Starkville, hostile environment in SEC country, not the easiest place to play. Those cowbells. We saw what Texas State was about last year. They're coming in here. They're still a competitive team. It's not going to be an easy win by any stretch. And then you start that 4-game stretch to open the Big 12 schedule, and this is where I think the season hinges big time. I think at worst you can split those 4 games. I feel like three wins out of these 4, and you are in the Big 12 championship game, regardless of what I think the rest of the schedule will play out well for ASU, assuming everybody stays healthy and whatnot. There's no major setbacks, but I think that 4-game schedule is really going to be an indicator of what happens because you got to go to Waco. That Baylor offense is going to be very tough with Sawyer Robertson and the running back Washington, 2 of the certainly better players at their positions in the country.
Their last 5 games of the season were very impressive.
Oh yeah, they were. Sure. Yeah, they certainly played the part, and they got aspirations to go deep in the postseason. And then you got a tough TCU team coming in on a Friday on a short. So you got after you have Baylor, you have a short week to come home and face a Baylor team. Kyle Duggar, Sonny Dykes. That's a solid football team. Definitely gonna have to watch out for them. And then you got to bye, but then you got to go up to Salt Lake City, where ASU has not played well recently.
On the road, right?
Yeah,
right.
I mean that was the same place where ASU got hammered 55-3 2 years ago. Granted, much different teams, but Utah seems to have their quarterback situation figured out with former local product Devin Dampier. So we'll see what they look like. And then the big one, the next week at home against Texas Tech, the team.
Circle it.
Oof. Yeah, if you have got to be if there's one game you go to this year, that's it on October the 18th.
I completely
against
agree.
the Red Raiders, because ASU's gonna have revenge on their mind after losing last year up in Lubbock, and they're gonna come out with a vengeance. And Texas Tech, they did a great job in the portal. They spent a lot of money. Bringing a ton of defensive talent in. They're going to be an interesting team to watch this year, to say the least.
At the kickoff, the Tempe Chamber kickoff luncheon on last Friday, they had 6 kids up on stage, 6 of our players, and they went down. They asked them all, "Who are you looking forward to the most playing this year?" To a man, Texas Tech. Now, a couple of them listed their hometown, like going back to Mississippi. One kid's Sip is from Mississippi State.
Kyson, right?
Kyson, yeah. So there's a couple of outliers, but it was really Texas Tech. Because why? Because they beat us, and there's a certain style of play, you know. Those guys have they're a little cocky, a little chippy, and our guys really want to get after them from a physicality.
And that game could determine who plays in the Big 12 championship game. It could be a Big 12 championship game preview even. So
it could be either the inside track or who you're later going to meet. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very possible both teams will be ranked or even undefeated.
Well, remember, there was
that game. We could see game day here or the big noon kickoff here for
that. If they're going to do it, that's the game. Yeah. Remember, folks, there was a 4-way tie in this conference last year, right? And it was the tiebreakers that determined that we won and we got to go.
That us and Iowa State got to play, right?
That's right. We got to play those two. But I love this conference. There's
a lot of parity. A lot of parity.
West Virginia, new coach. I think they're going to start turning it around.
New old coach.
Some guy. Same old Rich Rod we can make fun of.
Mr. Dick Rod. Yeah. But and then you got Houston coming in the next week, so back-to-back home games there. Going another big game going to Iowa State, Big 12 championship game rematch in Ames. That'll certainly be an interesting game. We'll see. Iowa State looked pretty good in week 0 over in Dublin, but we'll see what they look like.
You think they'll be recovered from the Dublin trip by then? Well, that's the rub. It takes up to a month after the Dublin.
Yeah, Graham Rossini was on the radio today talking about ASU going to play in Europe, and I'm just like,
oh God, I hope they don't
do it.
No,
don't do it. And then you got
West.
Then you got West Virginia. You got another bye. Then you got hosting West Virginia at home. It's kind of weird the way the schedule breaks out. You got home road for the most part. Right. And then obviously U of A games back on a Friday. Black Friday after the Colorado game. So it's certainly not you don't want to take any team for granted in this conference. Anybody can reach up and bite you at any time. So certainly no pushovers necessarily. I think ASU dodged a couple bullets in that they're not playing either the Kansas schools, BYU. This is you wouldn't mind playing UCF this year, I don't think. But
no, you're not playing Cincinnati. You're not playing Cincinnati.
You're not playing Cincinnati either. So, and they don't really have to go. The farthest east you're going to go is Mississippi and Iowa. So having to travel East Coast, like when they went to Cincinnati, that's Eastern time. So, there's no reason to think ASU can't be among the mix of teams there at the end for the
the two that kind of bug me a little bit are kind of is the short turnaround TCU after Baylor is 6-day, and then the U of A after going up to Colorado, traveling to Colorado. That's a 6-day turnaround too. So
we'll see what
Colorado we had a 6-day turnaround last year.
Right between now and then.
Yeah, we had a 6-day.
And traditionally the U of A game was always played on Black Friday.
Right.
So
right. If you can't get up, if you're an ASU player, you can't get up for that one. You're not.
You're
not in the right program.
There it is. So we go in here to our season preview. Offense returns so much production. We talked about 79% return production from across the board for this team. They didn't really lose anybody significant in the transfer portal, especially on offense. And this was a very potent offense last year. And they were despite being just a run first team with one player for the most part. But Sam Levitt really emerged, and this was a fun team to watch, especially as it relates to on the ground. They were a very good running team. Used the run to set up the pass. Mm-hmm. Like Sam Levitt really developed from the start of the year to the end of the year as much as anybody in the country at the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
And Marcus Arroyo, in his second season now in Tempe, we had some doubts about him coming over from UNLV. Weren't really sure what to expect, but he has certainly solidified himself, I think, as one of the better coordinators in the conference, if not the country. that was really big last year. Both coordinators getting a $1 million payday
bump.
During the midst of the season, the middle of the season, in order to lock them up long term. Because I mean, both those guys, probably could have gotten head coaching jobs elsewhere. So, but
Arroyo probably first of the two, just because of the nature of what he's been doing out there.
Yeah, his contribution to Sam Levitt's development and how the offense has really grown in 2 years is can't be understated. Absolutely. Yeah. So starting with the quarterback position, of course, it's Sam Levitt and number 10. Man, what can you say? I mean, we didn't really know what to think about the quarterback position at this time last year. Jaden Rashada had transferred out. I was really high on Sam Levitt. I liked what I'd seen. I watched some of his film from Michigan State. You were a little more on the skeptical side.
Well, no, it was the long ball. It was the long ball, and
that was my issue too.
And his long ball was not great until I say the last third of the season. Things started clicking for him.
Got much better.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, he started camp and that was largely based on what I saw in camp. He started camp. His long ball was not good again this year. But it came instead of waiting for a third of the way, halfway through the season to get better. By the end of camp, his long ball got very good. So his ability to correct whatever he's been doing wrong, footwork wise or whatever, on throwing the long ball has been so much better. And he's getting the ball out. He's reading so much quicker, and he's getting the ball out so much faster than last year, folks.
Yes. And he had he really had great numbers last year. I didn't, especially on the ground, the way he was able to extend drives with his legs was huge at times last year.
Yeah, it got him in trouble. It got him knocked out of a game, but he started listening to the coaches saying when it was okay to run.
And that's what I was yelling half the time. When he would, go out for go on a run and then just it's like, can we teach somebody teach this kid how to slide? Please, I know you're not a baseball player, but dang, man.
The way he ran around at Oklahoma State, I'm like, oh my God, stop. You're running backwards. How far are you going to run? He'd run 80 yards to make 10.
Scary. But, I mean, he was Big 12 Newcomer of the Year, second team All Big 12 quarterback. So much to be excited about with this guy going forward. We are so excited about what he can do this year, especially with the cast that he has around him. And then talk about, the reserves. Got Jeff Sims, the veteran, who's, been a big help to Sam.
He's got development. Better, right? Yeah. He looks better. He's getting the ball out quicker. He's still, his legs are still his biggest attribute.
He's still a runner first, and he's still throwing a few too many interceptions. But hopefully hopefully we won't have to rely on him too much. Right. And then down the line, you have Christian Hunt, the freshman Cameron Dyer, and Michael Butter Tollefson. So. We'll see what happens with them. Maybe we'll get mop-up time for one or two of them.
And we got a great kid coming in. We got a great kid coming in.
Oh, yeah. Jake Fetty. Yeah. At El Paso. Looking forward to him, too. And then, departures, Trenton Bourget, he graduated, but he's on the coaching staff now. He's assistant running backs coach, working with Sean Aguano, his former head coach. And then, Navi Bruzon, the local kid who was a walk-on, transferred out to a community college. But, it starts and ends with Sam Levitt at the position, and we're really looking forward to seeing what he does. And big expectations for him this year. Just got to stay healthy. He should, certainly put up big numbers this year.
Keep him clean.
Yeah. And they got 4 returners on the offensive line. We'll get into them here in a minute. But the running back position definitely has a lot of eyes on it right now with the departure of Mr. Everything Cam Scattaboo, the heart and soul of this team last year. Big key to their success. And that's been the big question of the offseason. How do you replace a guy like that? His production certainly, it's not going to be just one guy. But they do have a nice 3-headed monster, we feel like, with this rotation of, the partnership of Brown and Brown and Yeezy, Mr. Yeezy, Kanye Udo, the Army transfer. Feel like this is a very solid room from top to bottom. A lot of skills, a lot of things to like. Kyson Brown flashed a couple times last year when Scott was out and did the most with his opportunities. Scott was such a workhorse bell cow guy that, Kyson didn't really get a ton of run. But we're really looking forward to seeing what he does this year. He's kind of the tweener. You got Raleek Brown, who's the speed guy, who's a speedster, also good, good third down back, good receiver out of the backfield. And then Kanye Udo is kind of the bigger power back and get the tough yards on short, third and fourth short, and in the goal to go situation.
And Yee has done a remarkable job converting from a triple option, much slower kind of
not an easy transition, especially because in this offense you're asked to catch the ball out of the backfield a little bit more, which he never did at Army. Right. So I feel like that's a part of his game that's come around quite a bit. He also ran a little bit too high for my taste when I saw him in the spring. Yeah. I feel like they've kind of coached that out of him too. I really like this rotation. I feel like guys are going to be fresh. This is going to be fun to watch with the skill set that they have and the capabilities that they have. We saw Raleek Brown a little bit last year in the Kansas game. I liked what I saw in, even though he only had about 5 touches in that game, played with a torn hamstring, but he's back healthy. Put on quite a bit of weight, but he hasn't lost any of that speed. That burst,
it's all muscle. It's all fast twitch. It's all
that
fast
burst
twitch
that he has is crazy. That different, just that gear that he shifts into, real, extra fast. It's fun to watch.
Every single day, you can almost, in practice, he would break a big one. Just pop up. I'm talking a 50, 60 yard, 70 yard.
You get him the ball out in space, he is dangerous, especially if you can get some of those wide receivers out in front blocking for him like they do. Hey, no block, no rock. And they love to go find a hat to put on somebody. And if they're doing that for Raleek Brown, he's going to make some plays out in the open field. So
it's really cool when you have 3. And you're not rotating because they're tired. That's not the issue, folks. They're doing it just to keep pounding you and to keep showing you that they're slightly different.
Change of pace.
Right. And
just giving you different looks, different speeds, different everything.
Right. And depending on what you're going to put up for a defense, we have an answer for it.
Yeah. Okay. And then man Demarius Robinson, the freshman, he's flashed in camp as well. Grayson Rigdon, another freshman, he's got some great speed. I know, John, you were very high on this kid. Feel like he can come in and maybe contribute in different ways potentially this year. And then the redshirt freshman Jason Brown was very exciting, a 4-star kid. A lot to like in this room. And when you look at the history of the running back room, especially with Sean Aguano since he's taken over, they continuously produced 1,000-yard backs. Rashad White, Valade. Cam Scadaboo.
Eno's last year.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, exactly. So, and then, obviously Alton McCaskill is kind of a numbers thing. He, transfers out. And that's, but that's, I feel like that they have a great rotation and a great depth at this position. There's certainly a lot to like here. The coaches are very high on this room. And even with no Cam Scadaboo, I feel like there's not going to be much drop off as far as potential and what they're capable of. So moving on to the receivers, and this position I feel like has gone through the biggest transformation last year, just from the type of players that they brought in, the caliber of players. Right. I feel like this has taken a quantum leap, and just from a sheer talent standpoint, from last year to now. Of course, Jordan Tyson was tremendous last year, such an exciting player to watch. When he went down, I feel like this offense just kind of lost a step a little bit, even though they were, they played so well against Iowa State. I feel like if you had Jordan Tyson in that Texas game, ASU kind of, they don't go to overtime. They come away with a win.
I don't think you go down twice to your own inside your own 5 and their 5 and come away empty. I think you have the, what I'm saying? One of those two score because of him.
Yes, and I feel like that, having him back is huge. He, like Sam Levitt, probably turned down some bigger NIL deals to go elsewhere. And him and Sam have this great rapport. They're great friends off the field. They're roommates. They do a lot of different things together, and they have just a great. They're looking for each other out there. And Tyson, what he did last year, he was good for about one bad play, a drop or a fumble per game.
Right.
But I think hopefully that's kind of gotten coached out. It worked out of him this year. Yeah, and
I didn't see anything like that.
One of the best receivers in the nation.
In practice, he rarely dropped the ball, and he never dropped 2 in a practice.
Yeah, and usually, and the funny thing was, in those games where he had a bad play, he'd come back and make up for it later. Like that Kansas game where he had a bad drop. He caught 2 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter to pull out the win. And then one of the biggest additions from last season, well, 2 of them, I should say, in the starting lineup now, Jaron Hamilton from the Alabama transfer. Man, this kid has some speed. He has some moves. He can straight up
turbo.
Fly.
Turbo.
Yes, Turbo is his nickname for a reason. This kid looks like an Alabama receiver, just from when he gets out of his breaks to his athleticism. He's making circus catches out there. He's got great hands. Lot to like about this kid. We're all very, very excited to watch him.
And I've told you,
team up with Sam Levitt and play on the opposite side of Jordan Tyson. This is going to be fun to watch. For
you fans who've been around for a while, imagine a 210-pound Sean McDonald. Okay, that's
one of my favorite receivers. One of Andrew Walter's favorite targets when he was here.
What was? I mean, what was Sean's McDonald's weight? Would you say maybe
180? He was not very big. He was all of like 5'11", 5'10", 5'11", maybe like 185, 190.
180, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, something like that. He was not a very big kid. He was like a slot receiver.
Right.
So, but yeah, he was a guy who could stretch the field. But yeah, you got a guy like Jaron Hamilton with that kind of speed.
Right.
At about, what is he, about 6'2", 6'1",
6'2", 210.
210, yeah. A guy like that, prototypical size that can stretch the field like that with the speed that he has. Very exciting. And then they really needed a good slot receiver, and they got one in Jalen Moss, who had put up great numbers at Fresno State. He's tailor-made for the slot receiver position. He's a good possession guy. He can stretch the field when necessary as well. He's a matchup issue, and a very smart player, very smart receiver. Reads zones very well, able to find the holes in the zone and sit down there and make the catch. The easy dump off and moves the chains very well. That's the kind of player that you really need in an offense like this. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do. He's a good special teams player as well. Good speed as a punt returner and kick returner. So very nice get as well. And then a guy who you really didn't see much of last year because he kind of came in late. He was dealing with some family issues back home.
Right.
But
he was ready. He was ready for the bowl game and for the playoffs.
Yeah, he flashed in the postseason, though, made that big catch against Iowa State.
Oh, yeah.
And then had that 4th down touchdown catch from Scattaboo against Texas in the bowl game. Oof, what a play. And we're looking for more of that out of Malik McLean this year. He's worked his way into the starting lineup. He's going to start at the other outside spot opposite of Tyson. I mean, they'll rotate guys in, certainly. But you got to there's a lot to like with Malik McLean, with a guy at 6'4", great red zone target. He's shown that he can make, tough catches. He can adjust to the ball. He's downfield threat.
Right.
We're looking for good things out of him, especially when you put these guys on the field together. It's like pick your poison,
So Ryan, explain to everybody, how you have an X and a Y in your receivers.
Well, you got one. They used to be. I'll go throw it back to your day, John, when you used to have the split end and the flanker.
Right.
Now they're letters. Well,
and one is boundary, one is field. Well, guess what, folks? Yeah. We switch all the time. It's really hard for defenses. We switch. We flop our X. We flop our X.
That's the great thing about Hines Ward. I love this about Hines Ward. He teaches his kids multiple positions.
There you go.
He coaches them to block. And he teaches them. He is one of the best coaches I've ever seen at this, because this is what he did his whole career. He was a great blocker, great special teams player, and he
all over the field.
Yeah, and he played different positions.
There you go.
Early in his career, he was a slot guy. Later in his career, he moved to the outside, and they would still move him into the slot all the time. You're going to see guys line up at all different spots all over the field. You're going to get so many different looks from this offense. It's going to be tough to game plan. It's going to be tough to adjust on the fly to, because they have some horses out there. They have some thoroughbreds out there now. Nothing against X Guillory and Melquan Stovall and Jake Smith, who we didn't mention, but
I left
nothing against those guys. Good players. all the way around. Love what they did here, but they're not these kids. These kids are like I said, a quantum leap from what was here last year. And you still got Jordan Tyson here. So this wide receiver room is stacked, to say the least.
I like to say that last year we had 1, 2, you had a pecking order, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You had Jordan Tyson, everybody else.
Right. And now you have 1A, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D.
They're all up here. They're all up here. They're not down here. They're up here. Yeah, to give you the visual. And then, I mean, we haven't talked about the reserves, and these are some, excellent players as well in their own right. You got a true freshman in Harry Hassman who's come in. He looks tailor-made for the slot. He's going to get some run out there. You got Noble Johnson, the Clemson transfer, who's flashed in camp. He looks really great. Derek Eusebio, remember him? U of A game last year, took that screen pass to the house. Yeah, he's back. He's gonna get some run at the slot. Right. You got another freshman in Corey Butler Jr. They're very excited about. You got a small school transfer, Akeem Lanu, who's 6'7". This kid's gonna be a big red zone target. Zechariah Sample, the Texas kid, he's flashed all the time, consistently throughout camp. So, like I said, this wide receiver room I'm so excited about because man, from top to bottom, they are stacked. It is a fun group, and it's a great group to watch, and I cannot wait to see them on the field together because when you have this many weapons, many guys moving around doing different things, you know what Jordan Tyson's going to do. Now you add these kids, these other guys into the mix. Jordan's going to draw a lot of single coverage. Jaron Hamilton's going to draw a lot of single coverage. Jalen Moss is going to get a lot of open looks over the middle of the field for easy yardage, keep the chains moving. This is going to be a fun group to watch. And Sam Levitt, as long as he doesn't zero in on guys, he's not, he's going through his progressions, he's finding, he's spreading the wealth. This is going to be a fun passing attack. Yeah. And this is why I think this is what I tell people when they ask how we're going to replace Cam Scatterbo, because the passing game is going to be stronger than it was last year. It's going to be we're going to be way more balanced this year. It's not just going to be all about the rushing attack. It's going to be, it was, Cam Scatterbo and then everybody else, Jordan Tyson fixed, worked in there. Now it's, you got you, like you said, Big John, I think you said this in the pre-show, using the pass to set up the run instead of vice versa last year.
Last year, with a runner like Scatterbo, it'd be criminal not to run him in first and even second down. And we did that. And eventually teams started loading the box, and they started, the book was out on him. You load the box, and he wasn't as effective. So what happened was we got in third and very long. It's an untenable situation for a young quarterback like Sam. And
that wasn't fair to put him in those positions.
It really was. And so they have fixed all that, folks. You're not going to, if you see 3rd and 10 happening here, something's really wrong this year. It's not working. So you're going to see a lot of 3rd and short, type of situations, very manageable situations. And that's because of the talent they have and because of the scheme. They've kind of, you don't have that dominant Scatterbo, kid who can just break one,
break with his contact balance and run over people.
Do what Scat does.
But I mean, it's gonna look different this year certainly. But I still feel like it can be just as potent. And this with this passing offense, with some of the athletes that they have and the speed that they have at the position, there's no reason to think that they can't go out there and put 30 points up a game easy.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about 2,400 yards from Scat, right? If you just divide up that load between that three-headed monster running back room and these receivers, we haven't got into tight ends yet.
That's it. Yeah,
I think you're
in for a treat there too.
Yeah. So, and again, there's just kids, the Hassman, Noble Johnson group. I mean, it's just so much going on. It's so neat now that with this year's roster to go down it. And by the way, this is my 7th roster since the camp started because I beat them up so bad. But you just go down this list and you go baller, develop player, baller, freshman development, baller. There are no wasted scholarships on this team anymore. Nothing.
And that was an issue with with Todd Graham. I felt like some of these guys, they get to be seniors, and it's just like, well, what did that kid do? Why did we use a scholarship on him
on senior day? Who's that
yeah.
on senior day? None
of that.
Right. We're not going to
exactly.
see that.
So love this room. Love what Heinz Ward's doing right now. This is a great group, and I cannot wait to watch them out on the field this year. And then tight end room. Wow. Let's talk about also a group different night and day from last year, even 2 years ago. I mean, Shimon Mateer coming in last year, we were very excited about him coming over from Cincinnati. He was certainly one of the better tight ends in the conference. He's back. Definitely looking forward to good things from him. And then Kamari Anderson, the Kentucky transfer, who's come in. He's a freak, plain and simple. Yep. He's big. He can run. He can catch. This kid I'm very excited to watch him get out on the field, especially next to Shimon Mateer and make some plays. And then Cameron Harpole, who might mainly used as a blocker, but I think he only caught one ball last year. He fell down at Texas State after he should have had a touchdown.
He's getting a lot of touches in practice, I'll tell you.
Yeah, he's not a bad receiver by any stretch.
No.
He's a better blocker.
Well, he's a body catcher. I will just tell you that he's a better body catcher than anything else.
But this is a very stacked room from top to bottom. I mean, Shimon Mateer, again, one of the better tight ends in the conference.
He's going to get he's getting drafted. If he has the kind of year at where his trajectory, he will get drafted.
Very balanced player too. He's about as good a blocker as he is a receiver. I like his game a lot. He came up with some he was a big red zone target last year, came up with some big catches. And then, you add in Kamari Anderson. I mean, they're going to run some 23, 13, multiple tight end, 22, multiple tight end and running back personnel, big packages. They're going to spread them out with the receivers, but they can also line up and blow some people off the ball too when they need to. So, and it's going to be a big reason is going to be this group here. And then we haven't talked about these really talented reserves. AJ, man, this kid, he gets once he gets into shape a little bit more. He really flashed at times in training camp. We're looking for big things out of him. He is as a true freshman.
6'6", 260.
He is a specimen out there. And once he kind of gets his conditioning and whatnot in shape, he got dinged a little bit earlier in fall camp, but we still expect to see him this year make some plays. And then Jaden Fortier, who was one of the highest recruited players from last year's recruiting class, tore his ACL, missed the whole season. He's back. We'll see what I'm sure they'll try to work him into the mix a little bit. A lot to like out of his game. But top to bottom, Jason Mons, of course, known locally from Scottsdale Saguaro. Excellent guy who's recruited very well and coached up this group very, very well. I like where we're at with this group. It's been I'm really looking forward to watching them play as well. This is a very exciting group of players here.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to go from primarily a blocking first group to a blocking and receive. They're going to be catching balls over the middle in that tough zone.
They'll get their opportunities, especially with the receiving core that we have, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do.
I think there was a time when this school was really noted for putting out great tight ends. We were tight end U, and there's no reason why we can't take that back, that moniker back again.
Yeah, they use the tight end a lot. I like the tight end screens that they worked in last year, and some of the different plays that they ran for the tight end up the seam and whatnot. There's a lot to like here, and they're going to use them. For a long time too, they stopped using the tight end. Dennis Erickson barely acknowledged the tight end position.
Right.
So, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to watching the group. I've always been a big tight end guy myself. I love tight end is one of my favorite positions on the field, and I'm very excited about this group.
You have to recruit them. I mean, Dirk Cutter had the truth.
Zach Miller.
Right. And it was a top, very good pro who played for a fair amount of years here.
Yeah.
We can folks. What's coming in the pipeline recruiting wise is scary too. We got it going on.
They got a kid right now who's committed, Hayden Vircher.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be really good.
Yeah.
So this group, I mean, even though you got Shaman and Kamari and Harpole, I think Harpole is graduating too. They're all in their final year. But what's coming through? What's coming up? Look out! This position's got talent written all over it.
This guy right here, I just love him to death. He's you cannot coach 6'6", 260. Okay.
A lot to like, and he runs like a freaking deer.
That's it. He runs. Just watch people run. Get behind him and see how they stride or how their mechanics. Great looking runner. You're right. He already looks like a pro.
I'm looking forward to watching him too. So, and then moving on to the offensive line. Man, a lot to like here too. 4 returning starters from last year. Of course, start with the left tackle Jeff Atkins.
Played every game last year. Every game.
From Hawaii last year. Started every game last year. Played extremely well. Very excited to have him back. Then the Texas State transfer Jamedo Obigbo. He was Jeff Atkins' high school teammate too, and they saw him last year, and he's very good sliding into that left guard spot. Sliding over from the left guard is Ben Coleman, who started there last year. He's going to be the center this year, taking over for Anu, who was an excellent player here for a few years. And then you got 2 JUCO guys on the right side who were among the biggest surprises on the team, I felt like, last year, in Kyle Scott and Max Ahenajor, who really took the opportunities that they were given and just ran with them, made those positions their own, solidified their spots, and they turned into 2 of the better players on the team from top to bottom, as far as not just for their position but for the team. And they're great. They're so much fun to watch.
Watch those 2 folks get out and pull. They're so good at pulling.
Yes.
They get out and start pulling across to their left. Ahenajor runs like a defensive player. He runs really, really well.
Yeah, and the fact that both those kids were JUCO kids and came in and just kind of made the right side their own is a great story, and I'm very happy for those kids because they worked their tails off to get to where they are.
Well, think about
especially in a position that ASU had struggled at for a few years.
Some of Scat's biggest runs, I saw a highlight film of all those TDs. We're going over that right side, and and usually you have your best athletes on your left side to protect the quarterback.
The blind side,
the blind side. But the right side was really solid last year.
Remember Kyle Scott dragging Scatterbo into the end zone against Texas in overtime?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh man, that's the type of player. I mean, Kyle Scott, he's got NFL guard written all over him.
I think so.
His size and he's kind of a little bit of a chippy player. He's a road grader, but he can also pull. He does a lot of things very well. I was very impressed by watching him last year, and I'm looking forward to seeing this offensive line continue to dominate. Just got to stay healthy. Stay healthy.
Yeah, as Kenny says, they got to move. You move the people, you get the yards. You get the yards, you get the points.
Right?
You score.
And I feel like this is a deeper group than it has been. That was the one thing, especially 2 years ago, that ASU struggled with was O-line depth. And I feel like they brought in Jalen Clem last year, struggled with medical issue, and was expected to actually be the starting left tackle coming over from Washington. Yep. And he's going to probably be the swing guy this year. Joey Sua and Sean Na'a were both expected to kind of be the starting guards eventually. Sean Na'a played some big snaps 2 years ago. I'm sure they'll be able to work him in a little bit. Champ Westbrooks has been a consummate Sun Devil. His social media presence has been fun to watch. He's I absolutely see him as a starter in the future. And then you got a couple transfers here. Xander Rugaroli, a tackle coming over from Nebraska. He's probably going to be second team tackle at least this year. But again, you got a lot of guys leaving next year. I think, you're probably losing that entire offensive line. So, you're looking at future starters down here. Then the Helton brothers coming over from Iowa State. Wade Helton is an excellent center.
He was battling up to a week ago.
He was battling for the starting spot because Ben Coleman was having trouble snapping during Tonazona. Looks like he's hopefully got those squared away. But at some point, if he struggles again, you could see Ben Coleman slide back to left guard and Wade Helton be the center. And then you got Makua Pule, who was freshman last year. It was this kid's an athlete. He went out. He did a lot of good things last year as a lead blocker, as kind of the fullback.
Right.
For short yardage situations.
In a heavy package, right?
Yeah, the heavy package. And he'll continue to be this year. He's actually a center, but they'll line him up in the backfield and have him be the lead blocker, and you just get behind him and go. Talking about moving people. That's a guy who moves people right there.
Pick a hip, yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously losing Lee Fatano to the NFL has been tough. That was a guy, replacing your center is never easy.
A leader.
Very good leader, very smart player, always called out the defenses very, very well. So that's going to be tough to lose, but hopefully Ben Coleman, we have every confidence in. He's an excellent player, very articulate, very intelligent young man.
He's played a lot of football.
Yeah, played a lot of football, absolutely. And I feel like he's definitely up to the task. If he just gets those snapping issues squared away. No reason to see any drop off from this offensive line that was so good, so good throughout the course of the season last year. I really enjoyed watching them play because I feel like that was the biggest key to the offense's success last year was the offensive line gelling and emerging the way they did. Even with Scott having those highlight runs, the offensive line showed they could get out and hold their own and play up to the capabilities that we expected.
What I kind of dig is that we've got a Polynesian coach.
Saga Tuitele.
And he's building a stronger and stronger Polynesian pipeline here.
Oh yeah.
But it's bringing the other players too, like even Ia on offense. So we're not quite at the level Utah has been in, but we're certainly going to get. We're certainly building the pipe.
Most of the best teams that have most of the best teams recruit poly kids.
You got Sean Aguano from Hawaii. And Sean Aguano knows that market very well.
Yes.
Tuatile knows the market very well.
Yeah.
Very respectable.
They've been able to do that, bringing in the kids that they have. No reason to think this offensive line can't have success for years to come because of who's out there. I like Tuitele a lot. I feel like he's a very strong recruiter, not just with the poly kids, but with everybody. He coaches kids up very, very well, especially what he did with Kyle Scott and Henninger, getting them to the level that they're at now.
I thought he
deserves an amount of credit for.
The proof in the pudding to me was when we played Texas. Everybody said Texas D-line was going to tear us up. I'm sorry, our guys held their own. We were pushing those guys around. I thought it was very gratifying.
Later in the game,
right.
Yeah, we had Colin Simmons, that stud D end of theirs, who's probably going to be a first round pick. He had some plays, he made some plays, but over the course of the game, felt like the offensive line, adjusted well.
Right.
And definitely held their own. We were able to move the ball about as well as anybody did against Texas all year. I mean, Texas hadn't given up 30 points to anybody all season. And look what we did. And same thing with the yardage. And we put up the most yards to that point as anybody up to that point in the SEC against an SEC team who's that's very telling right there, and a big a lot of credit goes to the offensive line for their play in that game. Okay, on to the defense. Very excited about this group as well. They had their moments last year, forcing turnovers. They were really good at that. That's something that defense coordinator Brian Ward has coached, and this is his third year in the Valley. His group, that's what they like to do. They are attacking ball carriers, trying to punch the ball out all the time. Look what they did against Iowa State, the way that they turned those turnovers into points. And I really like what they've done this year. 31st in the country in points per game. The rushing defense was tremendous last year. Granted, at times there were a couple of games where R.J. Harvey got his yards, Devin Neal got his yards. There were a couple of stud stud guys who got there. But over the course of the season, though, they were number 14 in the country against the run. That was very big, you know, and then 32nd in the country total yards per game. You know, I feel like this defense with the players they have coming back, they only lost two guys really off their starters. You know, Shamari Simmons and Jeff Clark. Everybody else is back. So you know, this is a team that, you know, it starts up front with the D line. One of the biggest things that we're looking for as far as improvement from last year to this year is the pass rush. Because that was something that really struggled with the defense last year, was getting to the quarterback consistently. And I feel like even though ASU did not bring in what you would consider an elite pass rusher on paper, the guys that are here took big steps, worked their tails off to get their bodies in place to be those elite pass rushers, especially Clayton Smith and Justin Watley. Elijah O'Neal, I'll throw him in there too, because he got better and better as the season went on. He was coming over from the JUCO ranks, so it was a bit of an adjustment for him, but I feel like I'm looking for good things out of him this year as well. Lots of like from this group. Prince Dorba, you know, has struggled with some injuries, but this is his final year. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does now that he is healthy. Yes, and then those two guys in the middle, Jacob Rich-Kangaika, the U of A transfer, and then the young kid CJ Fight. Oh man, I love what these kids' names.
I want to tell you right now that Fight has impressed from his freshman year to now. You talk about a kid who has changed his body and done everything he's supposed to do to be a real tackle.
Oh yeah,
he's in the Outland. I mean, he's out. Not Outland.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does this year, because he flashed at times last year, especially in run coverage. But also, he's got the athleticism to be a good pass rusher as well. You watch what he did on that fumble recovery against Mississippi State. Put the ball over the pylon. Oh man, that was one of the best plays I've ever seen a defensive lineman make, especially at the college ranks. And then, you know, you got this group, you know, the D tackle spot. You know, Jeff Clark was such a great player, you know, in his 1 year here. Replacing that kind of player is going to be tough. But you know, Zach Swanson, he broke his foot in the spring. He's battled back. Looks like he's going to be ready to start the season.
He's back. Yeah. I mean, he was by the end of camp, he was running pretty darn well. I couldn't see the limp was gone. Yeah,
need that. And then
this kid right here, Blazen's cool.
He's been a good special teams player. Looking forward to seeing if he can crack the rotation. I think Roman Petrie on the outside? Is he outside?
Yes, he is. He's a natural end. He's from Louisiana. He's got a great work ethic. It took him a little while to find his stride here last year. I don't think he was in the best shape. I mean, quite frankly, when he first got here, it was. I mean, you'd think coming from Louisiana, you'd be able to handle the heat. He goes, it's a different kind of heat.
Yeah, it is. I just got back from Miami myself. Believe me, I can see it. It is a different kind of heat. But then, Albert Smith, another outside guy who they're very high. The coaching staff is very high on. He had kind of a scary injury in the spring game. I thought he was going to be done for the year, but luckily he came through that okay. It looks like he's going to be, you know, part of the rotation. And then the ageless wonder, Anthony Cooper, who missed all of last year. He's a local kid, and he's in his 6th year, and he's playing on the inside. Hopefully, he can come in and contribute. Yeah, he's played very well. And then another kid that I'm very high on, I'd like to hopefully get to see him before the season's over, Joshua Shanklin, the top-rated JUCO pass rusher in the nation. You know, it was a big deal when he committed here. You know, it's a bit of a log jam behind him right now, but you know, wouldn't surprise me if we don't see him, you know, in the rotation. And then the Washington State transfer Rashad McKenzie, following Brian Ward over. He should be a depth guy on the inside as well. But I think, you know, not having Michael Gardner, the Oregon transfer, who's also a local kid,
bummer,
is going to hurt because he looked like he was going to be, you know, on the 2 deep as well. Had all the physical skills to be a good player. Just hasn't just hasn't been able to stay healthy. Plain and simple. That's been his story since he's come in. He's very highly recruited. Just hard to watch. Tore his Achilles this year. Hopefully we'll get to see him next season. But I like this. There's a lot to like in this group, certainly, especially from like the pass rushers. These are guys who've been here for a while now. Now they just need to take that next step into being game-changing pass rushers. Consistently. I like Justin Watley's game. Guy plays with more energy and passion than just about anybody out there. Clayton Smith's a great athlete. He's put on some weight now and hasn't lost any of his speed. No, he looks like he's going to take that big step that he's
actually faster.
There you go.
20 pounds heavier, and it's all fast twitch. I'm telling you.
Yeah, these guys. I really like the way these kids. I think they saw the coaching staff liked what they had already. That's why they didn't hit the transfer portal for a pass rusher. They feel like these kids the kids that they have taken the steps, worked their butts off, put in the necessary taken the necessary steps in order to become the pass rushers that they need, because that was the one thing missing from this defense last year was a pass rush. I feel like that kind of held them back from winning, winning late during the season.
Our end of the year show, we identified exactly that.
And I talked about it. We had a wish list of guys that of things that we needed. We need a kicker, we need a power back, and we need a pass rusher. Now, clearly the coaching staff feels confident in what they have here, and I like what they have. Certainly, I like Justin Watley a lot. Liked Elijah O'Neal. I felt like he came around towards the end of the season. He had a couple sacks against U of A. Clayton Smith has flashed numerous times in the last couple of years. Felt like he, was not that far off from being an elite pass rusher. He just needed a little bit of, just maybe just needs to get a little more consistent with his technique and whatnot.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's taking those steps. And then, hopefully this, the rush defense doesn't fall off. I don't think it will with the players that they have here. These guys have put in work. CJ Fight, he's young, but he's hungry, and he's put in as much work as anybody. I'm really looking forward to watching him this year as well. So lots to like here.
Best shape of his life right now too.
Yeah. So lots to like among this group.
He's a fan favorite. That's what I like. Everybody loves that kid's attitude. He's great. But no, it's a great room, getting better. We got
the depth at D tackle kind of concerns me a little bit. But yeah. I don't know. I don't think that's the biggest complaint about this group. As long as they can go out there and get after the quarterback with some consistency and be as effective against the run as they were last year.
Right.
I don't have any concerns. So moving on to the linebackers, another very strong group. A lot of guys coming back from last year, including the top three: Jordan Crook, Zyrus Fiaseu, and Keyshawn Elliott. All newcomers last year, all transfers. Right. Really weren't sure what to expect from this group. With Caleb McCullough being the incumbent, but lots of this group really stepped up. I was very, very impressed. You were really high on Keyshawn Elliott from the beginning. I like Jordan Crook's game. I watched him at Arkansas. I really like what he brought to the table, and I feel like this group is only going to get better. I'm very, very excited about watching him this year.
I was big on Elliott last year, and I'm still, because of the intangibles and the leadership. He is calling that defense. He's still your best. Every single kid on that team can go to him. And go,
he's the green dot. He's the green dot.
He's the green dot. Yeah, he has the green dot on his helmet. Literally, they're talking to him from the sideline. But he's seen a lot of football. He's still one of your best East-West running guys on defense. And you see, folks, when we say or like that, that's because this is week one, and Romney's playing really well.
They're going to work. They're going to work these guys in. Tate Romney was really big for this defense 2 years ago. Last year, he kind of got buried with Caleb McCullough playing as well as he did, and he was mainly relegated to special teams. But he'll be back in the rotation this year.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, he plays well downhill. Good tackler.
Remember, he had a hand or a forearm. He had a broken bone last year too.
Yeah, that didn't help either.
It did not help. So he's fine. He's a new daddy too. Yeah, he brings his kid.
And then
Keyshawn,
but I like Keyshawn Elliott's. One thing I liked about Keyshawn Elliott is, his ability to cover. His coverage skills at the linebacker spot are tremendous.
Drop.
Yeah, and Zyrus too, running sideline to sideline. He covers the flat very, very well. Jordan Crook drops into his zone extremely well. And all of these guys, they like to stick their nose in the fire and come up and play the run very, very well. They're not making any business decisions here. This is a group that, they'll get after it, every single play. And I'm very excited about what they're doing.
This is the least heralded group in the media of all our position group. And I'm going to tell you why. And it's a very subtle thing, but when you watch them play,
it's the same old guys. It's the same guys.
It is, but here's what's going on. When you're this experienced, it's the difference between like knowing when you have a defense to run and you run it by the book and it's all read, go. It's no longer read. It's just eyes go. There's no intermediate step. They're just automatic, and they're on balls, knocking balls down, picking up balls.
Yes.
I mean, they're intercepting more balls.
See ball, get ball. See runner, get runner.
It's so different. It's just so automatic and go. What I'm saying is, I think there's more interceptions from this group this time than there was last year in camp.
And there were quite a few, during the course of the season too. Right. This was a group that was a big part of the turnover, of winning the turnover battle week in and week out that ASU seemed to do. And, Caleb McCullough, he had some big interceptions. Certainly, there's no reason to think that Zyrus VSAU started the season last year with a pick six.
Right.
Jordan Crook had that big diving interception against BYU. Lots of these guys will get after it. They'll go out and get the ball. So, I really like this group. And then, they got some young guys in reserve. Yeah. Martell Hughes was a great special teams player last year. He should be again this year. Definitely like his game. He's a specimen out there. He's about 6'4", and he can flat out ball.
He runs really well.
Looking forward to seeing him get his shot. Crew Jackson's worked his way into the rotation as well, and they're really high on the freshman Isaiah Yosefa as well. So. Right. Yeah, very, very lot to like in this group. Very deep, especially with all the seniors that they have at the top, but the young talent as well should get some opportunities this year too.
We're
on to the DBs, and this is another group that a lot of returning starters. If you want to, just go back, slide please. This is a they got both their starting corners back in Javen Robinson and Keith Abney, a couple guys that we weren't too sure about last year. Keith Abney was a redshirt freshman, Texas kid. Javen Robinson transfer from Washington State. We didn't really know what to make of these guys at the beginning of the year, but they really stepped up and played big roles. And it's like week in and week out, they were just getting better and better. It felt like, and they would pick on one, and then the other one would come up and make a play, or vice versa. They would, Javen Robinson was getting picked apart in that BYU game, but all everybody remembers is him coming up making that interception to, ultimately seal it. But I'm really looking forward to good big things out of these two this year. They really, especially towards the end of the year, they were really making plays. They were flashing all the time, and the growth from the beginning of the year to the end of the year last year was amazing. It was really great to watch these kids kind of grow into their own and, solidify a position that, has been in flux for the most part. They've had a lot of guys transfer out in the DB room, and, these guys stepping up the way they did was tremendous. And then the safety spot, you got, one of the hardest hitters in the country, Miles Ghost Rouser.
Yeah.
You know why they call him Ghost? Never see him coming.
Yeah.
But ex Alford, great pro prospect as well. Plays center field as well as anybody, and looking forward to watching him play again this year. He's going to be a ball hawk back there.
He is.
He's a guy who will go up and get it. He will come down with the ball. He's a excellent player. And I'm really looking forward to big things from him. And then one of the biggest losses I feel like on this defense, the entire team, to be frank, was Shamari Simmons. That was a guy who seemed like he was in on every single play, every single big play last year. And they went out transfer portal and got Kendrick Breedlove from Purdue kid who was, just tailor-made to play that slot corner spot. He's going to split time with Montana Warren, who played the position, filled in for Shamari in the bowl game. Kind of got picked on a little bit
twice.
But I feel like he's grown quite a bit. They've been very high on this kid since he came in 2 years ago as a true freshman. I feel like he's really grown in the position. They're going to split time, and from what I've seen, when you need a true cover corner, is when they'll use Breedlove. We need more of a safety guy, somebody who's going to come up and play the run a little bit more, maybe drop into a zone. That's when you'll use Montana Warren. So these guys will split time depending on what the secondary is doing on that particular play. But this is also a position I feel like has gotten much deeper from last year with the players that they brought in. Rodney Bimmage has been here a couple of years now. He had a great camp. He looks like he's poised to play a nice role in the future. Nyland Green came over with Kindred's Breedlove. He was a former Georgia player, transferred to Purdue. Now he's here. And then the safety spot, they're really high on these two on Adrian Boogie Wilson. He's had a great camp. He looks the part. He's gone out there and made plays. It seems like day in and day out. And then another depth guy that should get some action this year is Maurice Williams, the Kentucky transfer, who they like a lot as well. And then another guy who was expected to be a contributor this year, Plaz Johnson, tore his ACL earlier in the year, so he's done for the year. But this is very much a group that I like very, very much, especially the starters. I feel like this is a group that can go out there and make a difference. You can put them on an island a little bit. You don't have to drop guys into coverage. You can blitz a lot with this group because they have shown themselves more than capable of dropping into pass coverage and making plays.
Yeah, and I like the fact that last year we created pressure by blitzing. With when you have a real end rush attack the way we have designed this, you don't have to do that anymore. You don't putting all those people at it's not a high risk high reward situation anymore.
But when you have a strong secondary, though, you can afford to blitz and put those guys on an island.
Correct.
And I feel like that's the kind of group that they have here. I mean, granted, you still have to go out there and perform. This is going to be the group that's going to have the most eyes on it this year because the Big 12 is such a great passing league.
It is.
This is a group that's going to have to step up. It's also a group that's going to get a lot of opportunities. Really looking forward to watching what they do this year and how they've grown from last year to this year, especially now they're playing together as a group.
It's so amazing to think about every single group getting bigger, faster, stronger. Improving and improving depth.
The players that they have returning from last year, 79% of the production from last year is back.
And yet you added quality depth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what they did. Absolutely. No wasted scholarships, no wasted roster spots. Nope.
Not anymore. Not when everybody's getting paid. No.
Yes, exactly. And then we mentioned the kicking problems last year were well documented. Of course, after Cincinnati.
On the road,
Kenny Dillingham called out to the student body for a kicker, but they went out and got one in Jesus Gomez, a left-footed kicker from Eastern Michigan. They're very very high on him, very confident in his ability. I feel like he's a guy who can be consistent, not just on extra points, but on field goals at just about any range. He's got range. He can kick from 50 yards.
And then kick from 65, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Hopefully we want to find that. Hopefully we want to test that. But he is certainly capable. And then Karsten Kiefer, who was a true freshman last year, is going to be their kickoff specialist this year. He's worked hard, though. He's the grandson of a good friend of ours, Knapp Lawrence, who he stepped up last year when given the opportunity. Now he's going to be the kickoff guy this year. So, we'll see what he does in the years to come. But then punter Kenyon Floyd, as a true freshman last year, played very, very well.
He's bringing rain, man. He's just bringing rain.
But now they have, Matt McKenzie, the Aussie punter, coming in, who's been both those guys have been playing very well. They may carry that punter battle over into the regular season to see who the guy is.
It's neat to see a kid like Kenyon, who's very competitive, get pushed by Matt.
Well, yeah, he's in his like mid-20s, isn't he? He's kind of an older guy. Yeah,
like 20,
he played professional rugby.
Yep.
So, and then so special teams were we talk about quite a bit on this show, and we're very high on this group. Looks to be pretty strong from top to bottom. We haven't even talked about the returners.
We will, but quick question: do you think with an improved kicker, do you think Kenny changes his spots in terms of going fourth down?
I don't think he is. Not as much in the red zone. No, now that they have an effective kicker, I think inside the 30, he's going to take the points. He's going to kick it. He's going to take the points, especially in the low leverage situations early in the game. If you have a lead, give yourself a two score lead in certain situations. Yeah, now that he has a capable kicker, I don't see him going for it as much.
It's interesting, Kenny's been he loves the gamble, but
hopefully he won't have to as much as this year. And that was a big reason they went for it on fourth down so much last year, because of the kicking woes. And certainly I think with Jesus Gomez they've gotten those squared away.
Well, Gomez gives you length, and he still misses a few. Don't be surprised, folks, if he misses.
Well, but you're just looking. Last year they were just looking for a guy who could be consistent, 9 out of 10 times inside 40 yards.
I've looked up the stats. Anything over 72% is phenomenal in college ball.
Well, yeah, and especially inside of 40 yards, because if you're a Division I kicker, especially in the Power 4, you've got to be able to make it inside 40 yards 9 out of 10 times.
I looked up Ohio State, and I looked up Notre Dame. I think Ohio State was set. Their number one kicker was like 72%, 71%
for the season. But I mean, you're kicking beyond 40 yards,
right? But Ohio State, how much did they use them? I don't know. Well, but it was very interesting to see that. Your national champion was at 70, around the 70%er.
And I think you're just looking for what you would consider chip shot inside of 40 yards.
Sure.
For consistency is the only thing, especially so you don't have to go for it on fourth down quite as much in those spots. But
red zone production is the key.
Yeah.
The key. You got to get points in the red zone.
Yeah. You much rather have touchdowns than field goals, of course. And I feel like with the weapons that they've added in the receiving core and the tight end room that they have, they'll be very strong in the red zone. Yeah. So moving on here. There's the returners. There we go. Yeah, it will be Raleek Brown and Jalen Moss as the kick returners for at least to start the year. Those are, subject to change. They do change quite a bit this year, depending. It may depend on, how many snaps those guys see too. So we'll see how that plays out. But
this is week one, folks. These things, remember, we're going to revisit this. We're going to revisit this regularly. Yeah,
it's what we do. It's what we do here on RWD. We talk about this ad nauseum. Trust me. For first time viewers, here's your warning. We talk about a lot of this stuff. We talk about personnel. We talk about the minutia of the game. Just about as well as anybody. And so if you're an ASU fan and you love college football and you love the little things like that, you're on the right show. Yeah. So moving on here, week one. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Our season predictions. Of course, how can I forget? Also, John and I tend to be on the same wavelength on a lot of things. We did not collaborate before we made our picks. I made mine first, but we're both very high on Sam Levitt, as is most of the country. So he's our offensive player of the year. He could, perfect world, he's the Heisman. So, moving on. And then, Jordan Tyson, we're what's not to like there. So, he gets a little bit more consistent. There's no reason he can't be one of the best receivers in the country, because he has all the skills and he's got a great quarterback throwing in the ball. So, yeah. And you were very high on Raleek Brown last year.
I thought he'd get healthy.
Now he's healthy. There's no reason to think he can't go out and have a great season from the running back spot. He's going to catch a lot of balls too. He was a wide receiver in high school, so he's got hands. Right. So I'm looking for good things out of Raleek Brown too. But you think he's good enough to be the offensive MVP? We'll certainly see.
I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I think they're getting, because there's not a lot of film on him.
He's one of the guys. He's one of the guys. He's kind of the forgotten guy in the running back room. We can talk about this, but yeah, a lot of people were talking about when they talk about the ASU. They talk about who's replacing Cam Scatterbo. All the storylines are his backup from last year, Kyson Brown, and
USC
transfer Kanye Udo, who put up big numbers.
Yeah,
nobody's really talking about Ridley Brown.
Well, because
he was hurt last year. Yeah, right. Former USC transfer. Lots to like with his game, but he hasn't seen a lot of the field.
Right.
He's going to see the field this year.
Because we're not in the big Pac-12 anymore, and there's not a lot of people who got to see Ray Leak at USC or even knew about him.
Right.
It's like he's going to sneak. I think he's going to sneak up on people. I really do. You got very, very little film from last year, and again, he was not 100%.
If you have a secret weapon on this offense,
right,
I think he's it.
That's it. He's gonna surprise and sneak up on people, and we're gonna use. By the end of the season, I think he's gonna be a fan favorite because, I mean, you bust a 65-yarder, and early on in the season, people love that. They don't forget those big runs. I mean, no one forgets the Scatterbo runs. The people love big games.
The Xskillery touchdown against BYU.
Yeah. He's immortal for that. So, but no, we're on the same.
Our offensive, we're both very high on Jaron Hamilton too. Oh, yeah. So he's our offensive newcomer of the year. There weren't a lot of newcomers on this offense, but certainly none that flashed in camp the way Jaron Hamilton did. So we're very high on him. Our defensive player of the year, I think Keith Abney can go out there and put up 6 interceptions this year. I think he's more than capable of it. He certainly showed it last year. He was a shutdown corner last year. They were picking on Javen Robinson for a reason, because Keith Abney was shutting down one of their best receivers week in and week out. I'm looking for good things out of him this year. I know we're both very high on Clayton Smith. You think he's going to be the defensive player of the year, probably double-digit sacks. I think he's going to be MVP. I think he is going to be the pass rusher, the kind of the teams need to game plan for and double team week in and week out, and that's going to create opportunities for other guys, and that's what's going to make him the most valuable player for this team.
Yeah, I always have a hard time between player of the year and MVP. Sometimes
I think it's the guy that's going to put up. You think it's the guy? I think offensive. I think player of the year. I think
statistics.
I think guy who put up numbers.
Right.
That, and then MVP. The key word is value. Who he did maybe sacrifice so other guys could have success.
Yeah, what he meant to the rest of the team.
Made the most impact on the game from even though the numbers maybe didn't show it.
Right. No,
that's MVP to me.
And I think, and a lot of people kind of question Rouser, with his attitude last year. He has grown up. He's the kind of guy that likes to hitch in and stand over you and get a penalty.
Well, that was last year, Miles Rouser. This is this year Miles Rouser will celebrate with his teammates.
Right. And, he was kept out of Camp T. So was Abney. They were both perfectly healthy. You know why? Because they just wanted to give up. They were in shape. They were fine. They needed a little time away, and they wanted to develop the room too.
And they wanted to hit people too, I imagine.
They did. And, Rouser came up to me and said, I'm perfectly healthy, right? I said, yeah, I figured.
Yeah, if you got to hold somebody back, I mean, that's somebody who's hungry and ready to play. And I got a Ghost Rouser NIL shirt recently, so I'm looking forward to watching him play. And then not a lot of newcomers on this defense, but I feel like Kindred Breedlove is going to have the most impact at the position. That nickel spot is creates opportunities for guys. You watch what Shamari Simmons did last year.
Oh yeah.
The Kindred Breedlove is going to have opportunities to play and make plays and get his hands on balls and whatnot. So I fully expect him to step in, because he's like tailor made for that nickel corner spot. I feel like he's going to step in and make it his own and really have a good year.
I agree. But my guy's Boogie, just because he makes big plays.
I think he'll crack the safety rotation when there's plays that require like dime packages that require multiple defensive backs.
Yep.
That's a guy you could see on the field because he is a ball hawk.
There you go.
Somebody who can go out there and go up and make the tough play and affect a receiver's ability to catch the ball. that's the kind of guy that you want out there.
He
That's
plays.
That's ex-Alford, and that's Boogie Wilson, definitely.
Yeah, and he's in a great group that keep pushing each other and like developing each other. They self-modulate each other's behavior. It's really cool, really cool. It's a great position. But I love Boogie. He's my big play guy at times.
And then moving on here, our record predictions. I have them at 10-2. I was tempted. I think this team is more than capable of going 11-1 or even undefeated. They have the talent, certainly, from top to bottom. I just feel like one of those 3 out of 4 games, I think that might catch up to them. The Utah game worries me a little bit. Going into Salt Lake City, this team has not played well there recently. That's gonna be a tough game. It's the Texas Tech game at home, is gonna be a big game. The players are gonna be up for it, but that's still gonna be probably a tough team coming in. Baylor's no pushover. You got Iowa State. That and we don't know. Some of these other teams, one of these other teams, out of the rest of the schedule, might turn out to be much better than we expect. It is the Big 12. It's very unpredictable at times. So
they got rid of the poll because of what we did.
Yeah, exactly. The preseason poll, right? Exactly. But 10-2, I feel like still gets you into the championship game and potentially the playoff.
That's
so
right. And
I still feel like
I felt like on paper, you're right. That gauntlet of 4 games is huge.
That's gonna tell the whole season right there for me.
It is, and quite frankly, it's not Utah I'm worried about, because we got a bye before Utah. That was going to really be nice.
Fair enough.
And I think you give you give Arroyo 2 weeks to get ready. I think he just like we had last year. The big threat was BYU.
I'm more worried about their offense, frankly, especially with that talented offensive line that they got.
I know.
But yeah, I mean,
well, I'm going to put it this way: that Dampier. Guess who coached him for 4 years?
Tight ends coach Jason Mons. Yes, I'm well aware.
He knows every tell. He knows everything about that kid and how to get to him and where. And remember,
you can't tell me he hasn't kept tabs on him since he left New Mexico.
But remember, Dampier is a way better runner.
Totally.
You may remember a few years ago, I kept saying I thought he would be a much better running back in college than he was going to be a quarterback. But if we just take that away from him, make him a one-dimensional player, I don't think we're going to have that. I don't think Utah's as big of. You worry about the offense. I'm not worried about if we make him a one-dimensional quarterback. But,
and we'll have an extra week to prepare for them. I mean, certainly that is a big advantage. But I just going into that place, man, is never easy.
Oh, I know, and that's the one we could My problem is when I say 11-1, I really don't know which, depending on how soon we develop the identity. Usually it's game 4 or 5, you get an identity, but I think we will know who we are after Baylor for sure.
That's going to be a game. That's probably going to be the biggest test to that point for the defense. That Baylor offense is legit. They can put some points on the board in a hurry.
And just quite frankly, that's the one that scares me the most, because I don't know that we have your identity by then, and it's on the road, and they put up a lot of points. They can, and that's the only one I really see us having coming away with a loss.
That is going to be that's certainly going to be a tough game, and that's going to be a very telling game up to that point. So we'll see. That's certainly going to be the team's biggest test up to that point. So that 4-game gauntlet should be fun. Should be very interesting, very fun to watch, and hopefully ASU can come away with that. And that's our predictions. And then moving on here, our bold predictions. We like to make bold predictions on this show. I feel like they can come away and win 3 out of 4 from those games. If they can do that, there's no reason they're not in the Big 12 championship, regardless of what happens at Iowa State. I feel like rest of the schedule breaks the way we expect it to, and this team stays healthy. No reason they can't go out there and dominate. Week in and week out with the talent that they have.
I'm with you, bro. 3 out of 4 would be outstanding. In fact, the loss that I have is coming out of that 4, and I think it probably is Baylor. I mean, Texas Tech.
I got a toss up between Utah and Texas Tech. I think Utah is going to be very tough to try and game plan for with that big offense, that talent. They might have two first round picks on that offensive line, at least this year. Not to say nothing of the future. That Fano, their tackle, is legit NFL offensive line. So they're going to be tough to stop, very tough to, we'll see. I think I like what our defense is capable of. Hopefully they'll come out and play well off the bye week. Texas Tech game is huge, just huge. And we'll see what but we got up for big games last year. That was the thing. We got up for big. We weren't too big for the moment last year. That's what I love about this team. I love about these coaches. They get these guys ready, and I feel like they'll have them ready. He'll have them ready for that Texas Tech game. But God, they got a lot of talent on that team. But they could just but all the pressure's on them. Everybody's picking them to go to the playoff. All the pressure's on them. They spent all that money to get those players there. Now it's all on them to go out there and perform. I think back to USC a few years ago when Lincoln Riley got there and brought all those transfers in. They went 8-4. So, just because you spend money and you get talent does not necessarily equate to winning every single game.
No, and really the key, you can go out and buy that talent, but if they don't, especially if the lines don't gel, it takes time for an O-line or a D-line to really gel.
Right.
And you can go buy all kinds of great players, but if they don't play as a unit.
Yeah, and my other bold prediction is I think Jordan Tyson will win the Blitnikoff Award. I think, even though Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State and Ryan Williams from Alabama are tremendous players and are going to have great careers in front of them, I feel like Jordan Tyson's going to go out there and put up numbers that make him the Blitnikoff Award winner.
Yeah.
But we'll certainly see. I think he's certainly capable of it.
Well, my first thing. Because you can have a healthy Tyson, if you have a healthy Tyson, and the way he's catching balls and the way, and because of that, all that talent in the wide receiver room and in the tight end room, I say Levitt's his completion is going to go from 62 to at least 70%, and just because of the more talent we have, and because we're not having to be so run dependent with a Scatterbo like we used to. So that's the first thing that maybe it's not bold, but I just think it's going to happen. But I said, and it just made sense. Last year I said that their takeaways were going to go from 6 to 24, and
you were right. You were right about that. I was very impressed that you called that. That was awesome.
Well, I saw, and they're still doing it every single day. And they're ball hawking. They are punching balls, poking balls. They're doing everything they can.
No, that hasn't changed. It shouldn't.
No, it's constant. From the moment they hit the field, they are ball hawking.
Yeah, and then you got them also beating Texas Tech, and we're getting back to the CFP. So
yeah, that's bold. I think this could be a magical night, folks. One of these magic nights.
And this coaching staff has gotten these guys up for big games. They got them up for BYU. They got them up for Kansas State. They got them up for Iowa State and Texas. I don't think the moment's too big for this team. I feel that's the biggest difference. I feel like, from a coaching perspective, they're staying very even keel regardless of who the opponent is or what the stage is. They're just going out there and balling. And that's a testament to the coaches, and I feel like they're certainly capable. They're certainly capable of running the table.
Yeah,
they're capable of it. It's very, very difficult to do in college football because you're dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who their lives go through ups and downs, their moods, and whatnot. But if this coaching staff can keep them on track and they stay relatively healthy, I think they're certainly capable. Certainly they have the talent, and hey, not a lot of people are picking them. They are not a sexy pick this year to go back to the playoff, with track record of the Big 12.
Yeah, but we are one of the few teams that is picked to win, favored to win all of its games. Vegas has us favored in every game.
Nice.
So
that doesn't mean a whole lot in college football with as much parity as there is, especially in this conference where there's only been one repeat winner in the entire history of the conference.
I think the wise guys have studied this. I really do.
Yeah.
Vegas, I think they know that there's something going on here.
Yeah. And now as we move on to our week 1 opponent, NAU, our little brother up there from up the 17 in
Look at
Flagstaff. They're coming. They had a tremendous year last year. They actually, went to the FCS playoffs. They're ranked in the FCS rankings, number 19 in the nation, just to open the year. And a big reason why has been Brian Wright, their head coach, who's now in his second season. 8-5 his first year, took them to the playoffs. That was their first winning season in Flagstaff since 2017. There wasn't the COVID year.
Right.
They got blasted by Abilene Christian in the playoffs, but hey, they were facing a tougher team. Big Sky wasn't super great last year, but the fact that they were able to get there and have the record that they did was still very, very impressive. And Brian Wright, he's got some Dilly qualities to him. He's a little bit on the older side. He's been a head coach before. He's got a track record, but of winning though with what he's done, what he did at Pittsburgh State, and he's brought several players over from there. And they've already, established a culture here up in Flagstaff it's really started to show a difference and pay dividends for them.
The football fan in Flag is really turned on by this guy. Everything he's saying is right. Everything's they love everything about him. So the community loves him.
Like I said, a lot of Dilly vibes coming off of him.
He is, yeah. He's a great motivator. I mean, he says all the right things. So yeah, he's good for him, man.
Being an Arizona school, of course, they're going to have Arizona high school players on the roster. 50, in fact, attended an Arizona high school at one point or another. A lot of them had, went to out of state schools and then came back. But yeah, 50 total on the roster is very, very impressive.
We were looking. You're gonna
know a lot of the kids there if you're a high school fan at all.
We were going through that roster, man. A lot of kids from Liberty, a lot of kids from a lot of kids from the
Queen Creek, some Tucson kids, a few, a bunch of East Valley guys, Scottsdale kids, all over the place.
Chandler kids, yeah.
There are a couple Brophy kids, I think. So a lot, very interesting.
He got a couple from Desert Mountain, Chaparral, Saguaro.
Yeah, that's what I said, Scottsdale. Right. So and looking at their offense, this is kind of what their Brian Wright's an offensive coach. He calls the plays. He is basically his own offensive coordinator. And he brought Ty Pennington over with him from Pittsburgh State, and he had a very, very good year. He was Big Sky Newcomer of the Year last year. 65% completion, 2,288 yards, 13 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Does not turn the ball over very much. And he's a dual threat. He's a bigger kid, 6'2", 210, runs the ball very well with 437 rush yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground last year. So definitely got a guy that you want to watch out for. He can beat you a couple different ways. Granted, they haven't seen a defense like ASU's. They did play U of A last year, but only put up 10 points. But they were still kind of finding their identity with a new coach last year. I think they're a different team than they were at that point last year. So then you look at their running backs. They got a two-headed attack. Seth Cromwell's their top leading returner with 9 touchdowns last year, but they'll work Darvin Hubbard in there too. Both similar builds for these kids. They're both a little bit on the bigger side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much they'll rely on the running backs, to be honest, in a game like this. They'll probably, obviously they're going to try to establish the line of scrimmage, try and slow things down. That seems to be the consensus of what they'll do to try to control the clock. Work the chains, keep the ball out of ASU's offense's hands, but they're going to need at some point. They're probably going to need to run the ball because Pennington is not going to be able to do it all on his own against this defense.
No, between the three of them, if they get 3 or 4 yards a carry, you can eat a lot of clock.
True. And then in the receiving core, one of the biggest stories in the offseason was getting Stanford grad transfer Colby Katsas. He was a big target, 6'4", 215 pounds. They're expecting big things out of him this year. And then also for their receivers.
Sorry.
You're going back. But also they got a couple other guys that they're high. That Isaiah Eastman is one of their top returning guys from last year. He was all Big Sky punt returner. I'm sorry. Yeah, Colby Katsas is the Pittsburgh State transfer.
Right.
who came over. He had 35 catches, 500 yards, 2 touchdowns last year. Jason Raines is the Stanford transfer. Excuse me. He's 6'4", 215 pounds. And then on the offensive line, you got Stephen Eakins and Terrence Caldwell, who are a couple transfers. They also have 2 tackles that are returning from last year. All their starters have, over 7. They have like 70 starts. They're a very veteran offensive line.
Nice.
That they have that they've gelled very well together. They work well together. So this offense, they've shown themselves capable of putting up points. That's what Brian Wright's calling card is. He's an offensive guy, and he's got some players in place to really go out there and ball out with what they have. But again, we'll see what they do against ASU's defense. They don't really, just from a size and athleticism. We'll see how they match up.
I like to talk about out-athleting the opponent. Yeah, bigger, stronger, faster bodies will prevail by the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we'll see. But we'll see. But again, that's why they play the game. But the defense was really strong for NAU last year. They were 3rd in the Big Sky against the run, 1st against the pass. Adam Clark, the players love him. They love playing for him. He's former head coach himself at Western New Mexico, and he has transformed this defense in his first year, and they were, very strong last year, led by a couple of outside guys on the line, and Amon Allen, who was their leading returning tackler. They line him up all over the place. He's technically an outside linebacker, but he'll put his hand on the ground a little bit, but they'll also drop him into coverage. It kind of plays like a modified weak side linebacker, but they'll also put him in the pass rush. And then on the other side, the true edge, Brandon Wong, also all Big Sky honorable mention. They're looking for big things out of him this year as well. He is a guy that sets the edge very well, and had some plays last year. They were so big on defense, especially against the run. They were very tough to run on last year. And another reason why they play very well on the inside. And if we go to the next slide, they're very high on this defensive lineman. His first name is kind of long, so we just shortened it to Foho Cheng. That's what everybody seems to be calling him.
Sure.
A Houston Christian transfer that they're very high on. He plays on the inside. He's a space eater, a guy who's an athlete. They'll put him in fullback on offense, and move him. And he gets after it. He's very tough against the run. And then on playing next to him is Micah Carrion, who was all Big Sky second team last year. He's another guy who's on the inside, is very tough to move, and a guy there, is a big key to the defense and what they do against the run. And then secondary, they're replacing a few guys, but they're very. But one of the top producers from last year was Mikael Greer, who he's a senior, and he had 4 interceptions and 9 pass breakups last year. So he's a ball hawk. Guy will certainly get after it. And then a sophomore guy who started as a redshirt freshman last year, Kenyon Moses, who plays that safety spot very, very well. He's got 5 pass breakups, then he'll come up and play the run as well. He had a couple tackles for loss. And the guy is not afraid to stick his nose in the fire, 31 tackles last year as well. So that's, there's got some players out there, some guys who fill their roles very, very well. But again, they haven't really seen, athletes quite like ASU. They don't really, so we'll see how ASU matches up with this team. Certainly not a pushover. This is not your daddy's NAU team. It's just coming down here to collect a paycheck. Especially if you look at what their kicker posted on social media.
That was ballsy.
About making history, and Sam Levitt saw it. And,
he said,
one word answer was bet. Bet. So, there,
even though Sam can't
do bulletin board material, but that looks like that's what they did, especially coming from the kicker. That's a little unusual. So, but it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out for them.
Yeah.
But our keys to the game, as we do every week here on RWD, presented by Valley Athletic Booster Club. Support local athletics. Check out valleyathleticboosterclub.com. Yes, they're supporting our tailgate. They're a great nonprofit that we are proud to be a part of. And for me, got to jack the Jacks. Force 3 turnovers and turn those turnovers into points, especially if you can jump on them early in the first quarter, put them in a multiple touchdown hole early. I feel like you can kind of coast from there, kind of get them out of their game and kind of put them in their place, basically. Not give them any belief that they can come into Tempe and pull off one of those historic upsets. And that kind of leads in my next point: start fast. Really put NAU in their place. If you can score quickly out of the gate, and then come back and get a stop, turn that into another score, just kind of repeat the formula from there. There's no reason to think you can't come out of here with a convincing win.
Yeah, I mean, if they try to run the slow game and keep it on the ground and try to eat clock, all you got to do, folks, is stop them third down. Or force a turnover. And
the hope is that they'll be able to stick them into some third and longs. Hopefully, the pass rush should eat in this game. I mean, even though NAU has a veteran offensive line, they're not particularly big per se. If they are usually at this level, if they are big, they're kind of slow. They're not great athletes. We'll see what they look like. Actually out on when it comes to the eye test. But Brian Wright's a great strategist, excuse me. So he's going to go out there and play to his team's strengths and try to exploit any weaknesses he's seen on film as far as ASU is concerned. So now it's just a matter of ASU going out there executing and letting bottom line, letting their talent win out and their superior size, athleticism, et cetera, et cetera. Don't think that NAU is going to roll over for you, because they're not.
Yeah. Well,
take them seriously, because the coaching staff is taking them seriously. I
think there's a healthy amount of respect for what they've done up there.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, because NAU throws a lot of pre-snap motion at you, and a lot of different formations that from every play to play, they're very clever with how they try to get you off. Off your game. You got to play with clean eyes, folks. You got to really know what stay true to your assignment, stay in your lanes. Then you've really got to say, I'm really looking forward to seeing this edge rush really come together for us and force Pennington to stay in the pocket, take away his run.
Yeah, don't let him beat you on the ground. That's right. That's a big thing, I think, too.
And go ahead and keep him dirty. Keep him second guessing. What's going on out there in terms of coverage. But I just think I would love to get through a whole game with 4 sacks total off the edges and not even have to blitz in this game. So I do see a big. I think the key is we are going to see the 3-headed monster. We're going to see and the key is knowing how we're going to really see how to. I think we know how to use them, but it's been against our defense the whole time. So now you have an opponent really you can tee off on and showcase these guys and all the little nuanced things they can do to make them so special. So I think that's the key is we got clean eyes, you get that edge rush going early, and work let all three of these backs put them in the right position to do well for us.
Yeah. Hey, clean eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
That's right. Yeah. So here we go.
Yes. Here we go. Our predictions. Again, we do not collaborate on this beforehand. I kind of put together the rundown, fill in what my predictions and whatnot, and then John, puts it all together with his. I say 45-13. I think that this ASU defense is going to step up in this game, not let the moment get away from them, not let NAU get their confidence in. They're definitely going to show up and play to the best of their ability and get out of the gate strong. So that sound means that'll do it for us here on our season preview. We want to thank you for tuning in. We hope you stay with us throughout the course of the season. 7 p.m. kickoff. You can't be there, streaming on ESPN Plus. We look forward to seeing everybody out at the tailgate, certainly. But for now, we say good night. Go Devils. Sports Cubs. Sack the Jacks.
Sack the Jacks. Stack the Jacks. All right.